Hey guys, today I'll be discussing about real estate. So, what is real estate? For me, real estate is somewhat related to a property, a building, a house, and a lot. So, when you say that's your house, that's your real estate, that's your building, that's your real estate. So, I mean, it has a lot of meaning. You feel free to use Google or dictionary to reference it, but that's the most simplest term. When we say real estate, it's pertaining to properties. Okay. So here it is. Properties, building, house, and lots, or shall I say land, parcels, those are actually real estate. Okay, that word, all the four words would actually sum up um, with real estate. So that's the meaning of real estate for me. So what are the types of properties that I've experienced in dealing with real estate? So first off, we have SFR, that's a single family residential, apartments, duplex, triplex, different units, multifamily, mix, like mixed commercial, or um, there's a lot of mixes. So what I've experienced is a mixed commercial, lots and trailers as well. So those are the type of properties that I've I've got a chance to be a part of. So what is I mean the most important thing about the real estate is the real estate transaction. Let's talk about the traditional way. This is where we are needed by uh, agents, by investors, by brokers. So I'm gonna explain each transactions for you, and then I'm gonna add our role or our our support to those professions who specialize in real estate. So the first type of transaction is the traditional way, which is a direct transaction. So if we can see here, a seller decided to sell his house and found a buyer on his own, and they agree with a price. Either they're gonna use their own lawyer to seal the deal, or to save money, both of them will go to the title company and close the deal, transfer the deeds and all those stuff. So that's like a direct transaction wherein a seller find a direct buyer. So that's a direct transaction. Just a heads up, when we say they often use title company if they can afford lawyer. Normally, if you hire a lawyer, transaction for a property that will be sold is like, based on my experience, like 2 grand above. That's 2,000 above. It depends on the state as well. So if you wanna, cut it off, because title company has its own lawyer, and for the way they could, do the magic as well. So that's it for direct transaction. So the second one is through an agent. See, a seller decided to sell, or the homeowner decided to sell the house. But instead of him or her doing it, he hired an agent, a broker, to do it for him or for her. And then that agent found a buyer, or another agent who has a buyer. Definitely, instead of, a seller and a buyer doing the transaction directly, it would be their agents who will complete the transaction. Again, either they're gonna use their own lawyers, or they're gonna use a title company to seal the deal. So it's more on a listing, or shall I say, it's more on not a third party, but someone would represent you for the transaction, because real estate transaction comes with a lot of documents. So if you miss one document, that deal may pull through, or that would not go through at all. So it's really vital that if you're gonna sell your property, you're really organized on the things that is needed in order for the transaction to go through. So basically, those agents are highly trained, and they have their own secretaries, as well as this is where we come in, virtual assistant, to help them organize those documents. In that way, there's no delay in the transaction. On the first transaction, I mean, we can't do anything as of there yet because it's more on the buyer and the seller side, which is direct. So we're not supporting anything, not unless you're a VA for a specific business. So here, typically as well, all the transaction will be handled by agent here. And the seller will just, do the signature and stuff. Seller and the buyer will be the same thing. Just do the signature, and all the transaction will be done by their agents. So those are like the through an agent. The third way is a wholesale. A wholesale is typically done by an investor. If you can see here, the investor is actually in between the seller and the buyer. So what's going to happen here is that um, an investor would actually found a seller and then put the property in contract, and then he will also find a buyer while the property is in contract. And of course, let's say he bought or he put the property in contract for 339. He'll gonna sell it to the buyer for 350. So automatically he get 11 grand without, shedding out on money. Um, uh, you know, that's how wholesale works. So he's like a middleman. But the thing is, he is the one doing everything, almost everything. So he coordinated with the seller, and he also found the buyer. So um, most of the transaction as well will be done by an investor. So this is where we come in as well as a virtual assistant. So at least, I mean, on a typical basis, we will handle like the seller documents and the buyer documents if it's going to be investors who will be our future clients. So typically, it's more on us being organized with those documents as well. Same thing goes if one document is missing, and I mean the whole deal would not go through. So that's how important are the documents of real estate. So now the fourth one would be wholesale. When we say wholesale, if you can see here, an investor buys the uh, the property of the seller, and then clean it up, do like minor fixes. Just clean it up, just minor fixes. When I say minor fixes, it's not like a total renovation stuff. No, that's just minor. Maybe he can put some paint on it, swipe the floor, those things, and you know um, sell it to a buyer. So in this transaction, investor is actually shedding out money. So in his own pocket, he buys the property of the seller, but then again, he sell it on not on a very cheap manner, but the margin is good for him to wholesale it and to sell to find another buyer and then to sell it. So then again, the most important thing about wholesale, because it's sometimes associated with fix and flip. So wholesale, it's just minor fixes, and just doing just the basic stuff, not more on the total renovation thing. All right. So the fifth one, sorry, fix and flip. When we say fix and flip, this is where an investor again buys a property of the seller, and then it's gonna be on a below market value because the property is really bad, like it needs total renovation or needs tender loving care, sort of those things. Investor come in, buys the property on a really low below market value, and then try to fix it. put it on 20 at least 2014 or 2015 standards. Total renovation, moderated to major fixes is need to be done on the house to somewhat put it on the market, get the market value, found a buyer, and get the money that is worth. Most of these investors have their own contractors, aside from you know they have their own crew to do the fixes, so that they can really get like a nice margin if ever they sell the property on the market and found a buyer as well. So that's the difference between fix and flip and wholesale. Wholesale, just minor, just you know minor cleaning, and fix and flip, it's more on the moderate and major fixes. And the sixth one is short sale. Short sale, I'll need to have a different video for this one. Like real estate, this short sale has a lot of branches, so I want to dedicate a specific video on short sale, because we have a lot of short sales as well. So, but it's part still of the transaction. The last one would be foreclosure. It's the same thing. It's somewhat connected to short sale, but again, I'm gonna create a separate video as well for that, just to clear it up, the difference between a short sale and a foreclosure. So that's it. That's like 7 transactions that we've talked. Just the basic of real estate, and I'm hoping that you guys like the video or you find it relevant and informative. Now, if you have any questions, I highly suggest put it in the comment section below. And if you find it helpful as well, just put a thumbs up and then share it with your friends, family. Again, this is like free resources for you to take advantage of, freebies. So also, if you have like friends who wants to join our group, our Facebook group, or our Facebook page as well, feel free to invite them in. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you on my next video.